Good morning. Namaste to each of you. Thank you for joining me this morning to honor your mind and your body and your spirit. Let's just take a moment to become present. Find a nice, comfortable seated position where you can sit, having your spine, the back of your neck, nice and long and tall, opening up your chest and your diaphragm for breathing, and your heart. Last time there was a quote that came to me when I said that, and it kind of goofed up the rest of what I was saying, but it was a Dalai Lama quote, and it's like, an open heart is an open mind. And I love that. So I think now from now on, when I say that, opening up your heart, that will always come to mind. So gently close your eyes and soften your thoughts. Soften your eyes. Soften your shoulders. And soften your heart. Observe your breath as it is, soft and gentle, breathing life into you with each inhale, and relaxation with each exhale. Feel the grace of being present, returning to that awareness again and again. For this morning's intention, you may think of a positive word or phrase to have with you on your mat and perhaps carry with you throughout the day. This morning's intention I'd like to talk about is Asteya, and I'll get to that. So the first limb of yoga, as we know, are the yamas, and Asteya is the third yama, and it is Sanskrit for non-stealing. And we're more aware of stealing. I mean, literally and figuratively, we are pretty clear on the concept of stealing. But where does stealing come from? Sometimes it comes from a place of lacking. It's that you don't feel like you have what that other person has or what the rest of the world has or something, and you feel like you're lacking. So you want to adopt things or take things that were someone else's and not necessarily authentic to you. Examples of that is in our mind, we might take on worrying about the past or anxiety about the future. And that relates to stealing from our sense of confidence. If we're worried that we didn't do something right in the past, or we're not going to do something right in the future, you're stealing from your own sense of confidence. In our body, if you take yourself in yoga and further into a pose than you should, or more importantly, than you need to, we are stealing potentially from our health and fitness. That if you see someone going deeper into a pose and that's just not right for you, you're actually doing your own stealing from your own health by not listening to your own body and taking on, again, it's that taking on someone else's, what they're doing and feeling like you're lacking if you're not keeping up. And then in our spirit, we take on imagined demands or expectations of ourselves. We are stealing from our own uniqueness. And that's kind of what I mentioned before. So Asteya, non-stealing, helps us to understand that what we do and what we are on the mat is enough. And so what we do and what we are off the mat is enough. And there's a quote from an ancient philosopher by the name of Lao Tzu. And he said, "Be content with what you have. Rejoice in the way things are. When you realize there is nothing lacking, the whole world belongs to you." Beautiful words. So for our pranayama this morning, we're going to do a breathing technique that is called Kumbhaka, and that's breath retention. And there's a couple ways of doing Kumbhaka. We're going to do one that's called Antara, and that's retaining the breath at the top of your inhale. So that will give you a feeling of being full. So we're going to work with our natural breath. And when we come to the top of the inhale, we're just going to pause and feel that fullness of that prana. Prana meaning life force. Feel that fullness of your life force in your body, in your heart. And then gently exhale. So let's do that for a few moments. Again, using your natural breath, just inhale. And our natural breath, you can incorporate the full breath, which should start to become your natural breath, coming from your stomach up through your ribs, up to your chest. That really, we work on that in yoga class, but that if you can adopt that as your natural breath in life, it's a much more calming way of going through your day. So using that natural breath, come to the top and just pause. Don't hold your breath, just pause and feel that prana, that life energy in you. And then gently exhale. We'll just take a moment to do that. So everyone has that technique down, and we'll segue into our meditation. So if you'd like to continue that pranayama, the Antara Kumbhaka, during your meditation, you may do so. If you'd like to have a mantra, usually I do mudras, but today I'm going to do a mantra. So hum, which means I am, or it means I am enough. And you can do both of those if you like. So inhaling on the so, and that is the I, and then exhaling on the hum, and that is the M, I am enough. So let's just take a few moments of that meditation, and I will meet you on the mat. Alrighty, let's begin our asana practice. Begin with your nice, comfortable seat and your spine and back of your neck nice and long, seated upright, open chest, open diaphragm. We're just going to do a few exercises with our head just to gently ease into today's practice. And we're going to start with some head nods. And we're going to exhale, sending our eyes down to our mat, down to our feet. And then inhale, lifting our eyes up to the sky, just above the treetops, not directly up overhead. And then exhale, bring your eyes back down. Inhale, lift your eyes up and out. Exhale, bring your eyes back down. Inhale, lift your eyes up. And one last exhale, bringing your eyes back down. And bring your head back to a neutral spot. And then we'll gently turn our eyes and head to the left. Send our gaze straight out. And then exhale back to center. And inhale, send our eyes and our gaze to the right, along with our head. And then exhale back to center. Inhale to the left. Just nice, gentle movements warming up. Exhale back to center. Inhale to the right. Exhale back to center. One last time to the left. Exhale back to center. And ease over to the right. And back to center. And then with the tip of our nose, we're going to draw a few circles. So you can use your hand if you like to kind of draw around your hand or just free form your circle. Go one direction. And then the other direction. Slow. And then we'll do a few shoulder shrugs. We're lifting our shoulders up toward our ears and then toward the back, bringing our shoulder blades together and then down and then forward, making a circle, gentle circle with our shoulders. And really breathing relaxation into that movement. And just also checking in to see how your tension is up in your upper chest and neck and shoulder area. It seems to be where we often hold it the most. And see if you can really tune into that. And then reverse your direction. Maybe that uncovers the tension. Try to dissipate it by just gently rolling your shoulders and relaxing. And then let's bring our fingertips to the sides on the mat. We'll do a few sun breaths here. So big inhale, lifting our arms up overhead. And exhale, bringing our arms back down. Inhale, lifting up. And if your hands come together overhead, that's great. If they don't, that's fine as well. Doing any part of the pose is doing the pose. Inhale, come up. And exhale, come back down. And one last time, inhale, come up. And exhale, come back down. We'll bring our legs side by side. So I have my right leg in front, my left leg in back of that. We're going to do a seated forward fold. So we're going to gently walk our hands out in front of us. Breathing as we go until we find our breath is kind of shallow. And then back up a moment, and that will become your sweet spot. Maybe it is a little shorter than it was last time you did this, or maybe it's a little longer. Each day, our body tells us how it's feeling and what we should do. So we'll walk our hands back, up, back to a nice, tall, seated position. And then we'll do that again, pivoting from the waistline, keeping our back strong and straight. Walking our hands out as far as that's comfortable, listening to your breath. And just stay in that sweet spot for a moment where your breath is flowing nice and evenly. And then walk your hands back. And one last time. Keep walking. Keep breathing. And then walk your hands back. I have my right leg in the front. I'm going to extend that fully in front of me, flexing my toes, pointing them up to the sky, keeping the left foot against my right thigh. Then I'm going to take my right hand, place it on my left knee, and take my left hand and place it behind my hips, turning my torso to the left, sending my gaze straight out. And then come back to center, and we'll switch legs. We'll do that again. So slowly walk your hands in front of you. And it's going to feel different on this side. And then walk your hands back. That's what I like about yoga too, is that it gives, there's a lot of duality in the yoga poses. You're doing the same thing on both sides of your body, and maybe you have a stronger side to your body, but it gives the other side, and you can walk your hands back out, sorry, keep walking your hands out, gives the other side the opportunity to gain strength. So you're not stealing that opportunity by always favoring one side. And then walk our hands back. And one last time, walk your hands down, listening to your breath, feeling that difference. Maybe it's starting to even out, feel a little stronger or more balanced in the other side. And then walk our hands back, or not. My left side definitely is not the same as my right. So we'll extend our left leg out in front of us, flexing our toes, pointing them up to the sky. The sole of our right foot is against our left thigh. We'll bring our left hand to our right knee, our right hand behind our hips, twisting our body to look to the right, sending our gaze straight out. And then come back to center. We'll come up onto our hands and knees for tabletop. Bring our wrists right below our shoulders, knees right below our hips, navels tucked to our spine, create a nice flat back. And push down in our hands so that we create space between our shoulders and our ears. And we're also pushing down to create a balance in our hands, to have our weight evenly distributed in our hands. And we'll go into a few cat-cows here. So we're going to exhale, rounding our back, dropping our head and tailbone down. Feeling that nice stretch along our spine. And then inhale, lifting our head and tailbone up, sending our gaze straight ahead for cow. Then exhale for back to cat, rounding our back, dropping our head and tailbone down. Inhaling, lifting our head and tailbone up, sending our gaze straight ahead. We'll continue for a few moments. Deep inhales and exhales. Synchronizing your breath to your movements. And then come back to tabletop, tucking your navel to your spine. We're going to bring our knees together so that they're touching and centered under our hips. We're going to do a little different bird dog this morning. We're going to keep our hands on the mat and pressing down so that we keep that space between our shoulders and our ears, and try to keep our weight evenly distributed in our hands. And then we're going to lift our right leg up first, and we're going to lift it up going out to the side, kind of like I call dog hydrant pose. So we're going to just lift it up in its right angle, but lifting it up to the right. And try to keep your balance in this pose so your weight is evenly distributed in your hands instead of trying to favor one side or the other. And then we're going to bring that leg back down and lift it again. And try and keep centered, keep that weight evenly distributed in our hands. And then bring our knee back down. And one last time, bring the knee up. And then back down. Then we're going to extend our right foot to the bottom of the mat and lift it up to hip height. And again, focus on your hands and having the weight evenly distributed in your hands. And we'll take our foot and we'll make circles with it. Have your navel tucked to your spine, supporting your lower back. And then bring that foot back down to the mat and then back to tabletop. We'll do that same thing on the other side. So with our knees together, right under our hips. We're gonna lift our left leg up. Dog hydrant style again. I'm gonna try to keep my weight balanced in my hands. And then bring that leg back down. Inhale, lifting the leg up. Take a breath or two here. And then bring that knee back down. And one last time, lifting that leg up to the side, keeping your weight even in your hands. And then bringing the knee back down. Extend your left foot to the bottom of the mat. And then lift it up to hip height. And we'll just make circles with our foot up here. Again, focusing, keeping your focus on your hands, that your weight is evenly distributed. You're not favoring or leaning into one side. And then bringing that leg back down. We're gonna walk our hands back. We're gonna come to a kneeling position, throws pose. And you can have that, your hips on your ankles, if that's comfortable for you, or if a blanket in between makes it more comfortable, that works too. Or if that, either one of those isn't comfortable, you can come up onto your knees or upright on your knees. And we're going to interlace our fingers behind our hips, relaxing our shoulders. We're going to extend our hands away from our hips. And then exhale, bring them back toward the hips. This is the yoga lock, hero's pose with yoga lock. Inhale, extend them away from your hips. And then back toward your hips. Inhale, extend your fingers away from your hips. And then back toward your hips. And one last time, extend your hands away from your hips. And then back toward your hips. Bring your hands back to the mat, tuck your toes under, and walk your hands back so that you come on the balls of your feet in the squat position, and then push down into your feet, coming up to mountain pose. So we'll go through our mountain essentials for good posture. Toes are lined up with the long edge of your mat, or not the long, but the edge of your mat. And you lift your toes up off the mat, spread them as wide as you can, and then bring them back down to the mat, lifting your heels up off the mat. And then bring your heels back down to the mat and really feel that grounded connection with the mat, with the earth, rooting down as a tree would, the strength of your legs, nice and strong, gentle bend in your knees, navel's tucked to your spine, elongating the back of your spine and neck. Shoulders are relaxed and rolled back. Chin is slightly tucked toward your chest. And the crown of your head is reaching toward the sky. We inhale, sweeping our hands up and overhead. Big inhale, and then exhale, Bending your knees, bringing our hands down to the mat, and just check in again. Do a brief check-in. See how you're feeling, how your body is today. And then inhale, bringing your hands to your shins, flattening your back, sending your gaze straight down for half forward fold. And then sending the crown of your head down toward the mat, toward the ground. Exhaling, and just relax here for a moment. And then sweeping your hands all the way up, bringing them up over your head and reaching up to the sky, coming up onto your tippy toes. A really big stretch for your body, and then bringing your arms around alongside of you as you bring your heels down to the mat. And we'll do these sun breaths coming up onto our toes. So inhale, lifting our arms up to the sky, coming up onto our tippy toes, giving our body a nice stretch. And then coming back down, bringing our heels back to the mat. And one more time, sweeping your hands up and overhead, and then stretching up to the sky, coming up onto our tippy toes. And then bring our arms down, heels down, and bringing our hands all the way down to the mat. Bending our knees as we go. And then bringing our hands to our shins, flattening out our back. Nice, straight, long spine. Our gaze is sent right down to the earth. And then dropping our crown of our head down toward the mat. And sweep our hands from the mat all the way up overhead. Palms come together. The supported side stretch. We'll bring our right hand to our right thigh and slide it down toward our knee. Nice crescent shape with our upper torso. Inhale, come back up with your right hand, reaching your left hand, then send your left hand down to the left thigh and slide it down toward your left knee. Again, creating a nice arch, crescent shape in your upper body. Inhale, lift your left hand up, hands overhead, drop your right hand down to your right thigh, slide it down toward your knee, and then come back up. And one last time on the left side, bringing your left hand down, slide it to your left knee, and then bringing your hands both up together, and then bringing your hands back down to the mat, bending your knees as you go to support your lower back. Inhale, lift your hands to your shins, flatten out your back, straighten out your spine, back of your neck. Then lower your crown of your head toward the mat. And then sweeping your hands from the mat all the way up overhead. Palms come together, palms come to heart center. We're going to do a few leg lifts. I'm going to go to my side to show you. So we're going to start with our anchoring our left foot into the mat and lifting our right leg up. And as we did when we were in tabletop, try to keep your body as straight up as you can instead of leaning over and favoring your left side. We're going to lift our right leg up. And then we're going to send it behind us, just so the toes touching down on the mat. And then back to mountain pose. Lifting up again, keeping that mountain pose nice and straight and tall. leg comes to a 45 or whatever that chair pose, 90-degree angle. And then sending that foot back in back of you, touching the toe down on the mat. And then back to mountain. And we'll do that one last time. Lifting the leg up. Oops. And sending the toes in back of you, tapping them right on the mat. And then back to mountain pose. Now we'll do that on the other side. So lifting your left leg up. See if you're favoring your right side a little bit more, leaning into it, just trying to just lift it up straight ahead of you. And then send it behind your left foot behind you so the left toes come down on the mat. And then back to mountain pose, lifting our left leg up again. And then sending them behind you, tapping our left toes on the mat. Then back to mountain pose. One last time, lifting the leg up, nice and deliberate and controlled. Sending your left foot behind you and tapping the toes on the mat. Come back to mountain pose. Nice big inhale, sweeping our hands up overhead. And then exhale, bringing our hands down to the mat, bending our knees as we go. Inhale, half forward fold, hands to the shins, back straightens out, gaze is sent down. And then exhale, setting the crown of your head down toward the mat. And then sweeping your hands from the mat all the way up overhead. Palms come together. Palms come to heart center. And then palms come to the back of your hips for supported back bend. Feet are about hip width apart. Shoulders are nice and relaxed and rolled back. Chins tucked to your chest. And just gently send your shoulders back. Listening to your breath, getting to that sweet spot where your breath is nice and even and flowing. And then coming back up. How's everyone doing? Okay, we're going to sweep our hands up overhead again. Big inhale, exhale, bringing them down to the mat, forward fold. We'll send our right foot out and back of us, coming into runner's lunge. The front leg, the left knee is over the left ankle. Our left foot's framed by our hands. The heel of our right foot's pushing back toward the back of the mat. And then placing our right hand down, we're going to sweep our left hand all the way up to the sky. And you can follow it with your eyes if that's comfortable. And then bringing your left hand back down. We're going to send our right knee down to the mat, the top of our right foot down to the mat. Do a few half monkey poses here. So we're going to straighten out our left leg, riding it down with our chest to our thigh, bringing our head down toward our knee. And then walk our hands back up. So we come back into the low lunge. And then straightening out our leg again. We're going to ride it down, bringing our head toward our knee. And feel the hamstrings loosening up a little bit. And then coming back up. And one last time, straighten out your left leg, write it down, head toward the knee. And then walking your hands back up. We're going to come back up into runner's lunge. So tuck your toe, back toe under, come back up to runner's lunge. And then we're going to pivot our back foot down and come up into warrior one. So pushing down in our front leg, come up, keeping that knee, left knee over your left ankle, sweeping your hands up to the sky, and then back over your head. And then we sweep our hands down and back. As we sweep them back, we're going to straighten out our front leg. So we have our arms in airplane mode. Our front leg is straight. Don't lock in your knee, just keep that gentle bend in the knee. The back foot is nice and snug in the mat. And then we're going to sweep our hands all the way up to the sky. As we do, we're going to bend our front knee so that the knee's over our left ankle again. And then exhale, sweeping our hands down and back. And as we go back, we're going to straighten out that front leg. And then one last time, sweep our hands all the way up, bending our knee so it's over the ankle. Nice lunge position. And then sweep our hands down. Keeping our knee bent, we're going to come into warrior two. So turn your chest toward the long side of your mat, keeping your feet where they are. Left knees over the left ankle, back foot's nice and snug. We're going to sweep our arms up to shoulder height and slowly turn our head to our left fingertips. Navel's tucked to the spine. Really have a nice straight spine and back of your neck. Feel that strength in your legs and the lightness in your upper body. Then we're going to take our left hand, bring it up to the sky, and as we do, we're going to straighten out our left leg again. So the left hand's up to the sky, keep our gaze on it, and our left leg is straight, again with a slight bend in the knee. And then bringing it back down to warrior two. And then bring our left forearm down to our left thigh, sweeping our right hand overhead and toward the front of the mat, creating a nice line of energy from our toes up to our fingertips. And then bring our right hand down to the mat as we pivot on our back foot, come into runner's lunge, and then bring our left foot back to meet our right foot coming into plank. Plank, our shoulders are right over our wrists. Heels are pushing to the back of the mat. Navel's tucked to the spine, elevating our hips slightly. So no saggy tummies here. And then we're going to come down, either knees, chest, chin, or chaturanga. Bringing our hands to our sides, palms facing up. Chin is resting on the mat. We'll do half locust and lotus and full lotus. So lift our left leg up, and our backs of our hands are supporting us. And then bring it back down. Inhale, lift the right leg up. And bring it back down. And I'm going to lift both legs and both arms off the mat in airplane mode. And then bring them both back down. Bring your hands beneath your shoulders. Elbows are tucked to your side. And lift your chin and chest up. And then gently press into your hands, coming into cobra. And then continue that push up to tabletop, and then send your hips down to your ankles for extended child's pose. Arms are extended out in front of you. Hips are towards your ankles. Then come back up to tabletop. Tuck your toes under, lift your hips up for downward dog, and pedal out here for a moment. Fingers are nice and spread apart. Index finger pointing to the top of the mat. Arms are straight and strong. Chest is reaching toward your thighs. Knees are bent, or you could be pedaling. And then with our right foot, we're going to lift it up behind us, up to the sky for three-legged dog. And then bring it back down, pedal out. And then again, lift it up toward the sky. And then bring it back down. And one last time, lift your right foot up to the sky. And then bend your knee, bringing your heel back toward your hips and sending your knee out to the side, like what we did earlier. And then bring your knee back, your foot back down, pedal out. And we'll walk our feet up to our hands, coming into forward fold. Sweeping our hands up to the sky, palms come together, palms come to heart center. And we're gonna be in mountain pose, anchor down to our left leg and lift our right leg up and bring our right foot back so that the toes are touching on the mat as we did before. And then from here, we're going to go into warrior three. We're going to bend our left knee just slightly. Feel your stability get a little bit better. And then gently lift our right leg up. And you can send your arms back for airplane arms. And you can come lift your leg as far as, whoops, or low as is comfortable. We're just trying to work on our balance here. Good. That's, again, your body has a stronger side and a weaker side, and that is my weaker side. So let's try that again with a little twist. So coming back to mountain pose, we're going to, instead of in a crease with the floor, might work a little better. We're going to lift our right leg up, and this time, don't put your toes down behind you. Just try to keep your foot elevated and coming in to warrior three without touching the ground first. Ah. It worked in rehearsal. There we go. And then come back down. All right, let's do that all again on the other side. So inhale, sweeping our hands up overhead. Exhale, bringing our hands down to the mat, forward fold. We're gonna plant our hands down, extend our left foot to the back of the mat, coming into runner's lunge. We just plant our left hand down, sweep our right hand up to the sky, following it with our gaze, and then coming back down. Bring our left knee to the mat, left top of our foot to the mat, and then walk our hands back as we straighten out our front leg for half monkey. Following our thigh down with our chest attached and head toward the knee. And then walk back. And we'll do that again. So straightening out our front leg, riding our thigh down, bringing our head toward our knee, and then coming back up. And one last time, straightening out our front leg, riding our thigh down, head comes toward the knee, and then come back up. Bringing our left toes tucked under, coming back into a runner's lunge. And then we're going to pivot our left foot down and sweep our hands up, coming up into warrior one. Right knee's over the right ankle. Back foot's nice and snug in the mat. And then we sweep our hands down and back for airplane arms. As we sweep our hands back, we're going to straighten out our front leg. Again, keeping a nice gentle bend in the knee, not locking our knee. And then sweep our hands up, bending our knee over our ankle for warrior one. And then sweeping our hands down and back, straightening our leg as we go. 2, and then one last time, sweep our hands up, bending our knee over our ankle. Warrior one, sweeping our hands, excuse me, down and back, straightening out our leg. For 3, and then back to our lunge position. Knee is over our ankle, back foot's nice and snug. And then we're going to twist our torso to the long edge of the mat, coming into warrior two. Navel's tucked to the spine. Spine is nice and long, back of the neck is nice and long. And then sweep our hands up to shoulder height. Slowly turn our head to the right fingertips. And then slowly bring our right fingertips up toward the sky as we follow it with our gaze. And at the same time, we're straightening out our front leg. And then come back to warrior two, bending that right knee over the right ankle. And bring your right forearm down to your right thigh, sweeping your left hand overhead and to the front of the mat. And then bring your left hand down to the mat, pivoting on the back foot, coming into runner's lunge again. And then bringing your right foot back to meet your left foot, coming into plank. We will lower down to the mat, either knees, chest, chin, or chaturanga. Elbows keeping tucked to the side, lower down. Bring your arms alongside of you with palms facing up. Chin is on the mat. Lift our left leg up and bring it down. Lift our right leg up and bring it down. And lift both legs and both arms up for full lotus. And bring it down. Bring our fingertips underneath our shoulders. Elbows tucked to the side. Lifting our chin and chest gently up. And then pressing down until our fingers come into cobra. And then pushing down, coming up to tabletop. Sending your hips down to your ankles. Extending your arms forward for extended child's pose. Coming back up to tabletop. Tuck our toes under, lift our hips up to downward dog, and pedal out here for a moment. Fingers are gripping the mat, index finger pointing to the top. And we're gonna lift our left leg up, three-legged dog, and then bring it back down, pedal out. And then again, inhale, lift the left leg up and bring it back down. And one last time, we'll lift the left leg up. Bend the heel toward your hips. Point your knee toward the left side of the mat. And then bring that all back down, pedal out. And walk your feet up to your hands. Forward fold. Inhale, sweeping your hands up overhead. Palms come together. Palms come to heart center. Feel grounded in your right foot. And slowly lift your left leg up so that it looks like it's sitting in a chair. And then send your left foot back. Have the toe touch down on the mat. Bend into your right knee. And then lift your left foot up and send your arms back for warrior three with airplane arms. And then come back down, back to mountain pose, and we'll try it again without touching our toes down, or you can, whichever works for you. So again, we'll lift our left leg up, send it out and behind us without touching down. Put that gentle bend in your right knee. Send your left leg up. Arms go back into airplane. And then come back down. Well done, everyone. Bring your toes to the edges of the mat. Bring our hands to heart center and drop our hips down toward the mat, bringing our torso between our legs. Elbows rest on the inner part of our knees for wide-legged squat. And then bring our hips down to the mat. We'll roll back. You can roll back whichever way you like, express or length, extend your legs and then gently roll back one vertebrae at a time. Whichever you like. And bring knees to the chest. Give them a nice gentle hug and rock back and forth to massage your lower back. And bring both feet down to the mat. Have the feet hip width apart. We'll bring our arms down, out from our side, the palms facing down to support us. So they're out away from your body. Or we'll do a few windshield wipers. So we're going to drop our knees to the right. And then inhale, lift them back up. Exhale, drop them to the left. Inhale, back up. Drop them to the right. Inhale, back up. Exhale, drop them to the left. Inhale, back up. Exhale to the right. And just keep doing this for a few moments. Nice even flow back and forth. Trying to keep your hip bones anchored on the mat if you can. And one last time, we'll meet you back in the center. And then extend your feet down to the bottom of the mat. Prepare for Shavasana. Heels go to each corner. Let your feet just relax and drop open. Take a few inhales. And on the exhale, just release your body into the mat like you're falling into a cloud. Do that with your shins, your knees, your hips, your shoulders, your hands, your face, and then place a gentle smile upon your lips. And just relax. The poem I have for you this morning is titled I Worried by Mary Oliver. I worried a lot. Will the garden grow? Will the rivers flow in the right direction? Will the earth turn as it was taught? And if not, how shall I correct it? Was I right? Was I wrong? Will I be forgiven? Can I do better? Will I ever be able to sing? Even the sparrows can do it, and I am, well, hopeless. Is my eyesight fading, or am I just imagining it? Am I going to get rheumatism, lockjaw, dementia? Finally, I saw that worrying had come to nothing, and I gave it up. I took my old body and went out into the morning and sang.